is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
And I am Brent Jackson.
Brent, we're back from summer vacations, I guess, completely now.
For now, yeah. Well, yes, we are back from summer vacation. Summer is now behind us, and we are going full steam ahead in the fall.
We're very busy right now, suddenly.
We are.
Yeah.
I'm glad the kids are back in school, though.
Me
Like
too.
the whole summer camp schedule is like, it throws me out of whack.
Yeah, we got the kids back in school. But then they also have the extracurriculars where you're driving them places in the evenings. So there's a lot of back and forth still.
But it's more stability.
Yeah.
The drop off at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, whichever camp, and having to pick up at 2, 3, 4. I mean, it squeezes my day to like 9 to 2, or what is it, like 10 to 2 for appointments. It's just too much.
I feel you. Well, let's get to our guest because she is up bright and early. She's on the West Coast. This is Magda Sarkissian with Golden Gate. It's Golden Gate Sotheby's, right? Golden Gate Sotheby's International Realty. And so thanks for joining us. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really, really grateful.
So how did I forget, how did we connect? We were on a panel, an online panel, I think.
That's correct.
Yeah. Presenting to our company, TTR Sotheby's, right?
Yes.
What were
On
you presenting?
ChatGPT.
Right. It was the ChatGPT. I was trying to remember which topic it was. It was social media, but it was ChatGPT. We were talking about how people are using.
You're on all these panels.
I'm a panel guy. So Magda, tell us. So you're in Marin County, so in the Bay Area, San Francisco. Tell us a little about how you got started in real estate. I know your family's in real estate. Your mom is on your team. Tell us a little bit about everything about that.
Sure. So I guess I would go way back when my mother was working in real estate and I was a little kid, and probably just like your kids, was traveling with her, going to Sunday open houses, hearing her on the phone, hearing her negotiate with clients, doing her mailers when I was young, and helping her with her marketing.
At what age would this be? I'm just curious. Like, so you're doing all this, like you say young, is that like, because I have a 10-year-old. I'm like, is that a 10-year-old, or you're like in high school and you're 16, 18?
All throughout, actually. I started doing her mailers. I was licking her envelopes one after the other, probably at age 10, until she realized I needed a sponge with water.
Sidebar on that, I had my 12-year-old stepdaughter doing envelopes for me earlier this year for just a general mailing to a neighborhood, and we got a listing out of it.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So I gave her, I had to like inject some pride. I was like, look, one of your letters got somewhere.
That's
and she was
so
like,
sweet.
She was like, okay.
But does she get some sort of a bonus for that?
We haven't discussed that yet.
All right.
But yes, no, after the closing, yeah. But I mean, no, I you prove right to your kid, like, look, we put all this effort in and we do these things every day, and it's like, here's the result. And then I explained to her, I was like, this is the amount of commission that we're going to earn off of this. And so that actually, sent some lights off, right?
I think.
So what are you doing at an open house?
What would I mean, she would not really want me to be there because I think she wanted to make sure that, family and business were separated so that her clients felt, that she was there to focus on work. But there would be many times I would be going through properties with her and seeing them and sitting in the car and being patient. And I think as I'm first generation American, and seeing your parents that are immigrants hustle in America to make, a name for themselves and to raise their family. As a young girl, that was really inspiring. And I remember thinking how different my mom looked compared to the other moms that would come pick me up from school. She was not in the tennis skirt. She was wearing the suit. And it was hard. I think I thought in my mind, I wanted this mom to be the epitome of a, house, just a house mom. And then I started to really understand what she went through and what she did on a day-to-day basis. And I think that was a driving force for me as a woman to realize that it's important to have your independence and your identity, and to meet people on your own. And so that was really the driving force, seeing my mom hustle. And then after college, had a few jobs. And I think what was really the catalyst was I worked at a architectural firm that designed 5-star resorts around the world. And they would do auberges and additions and really high-end properties. And that was interesting because I was on the business development side, and I had to read about developers and different interior design architects and put in landscape architects, and putting all these people together to create a team. And then we would go and pitch to developers with all of our ideas. And I was really spearheading, I think my strong suit in that was spearheading the ethos of the design, where we would have this war room, and I would print all these pictures of, this is the clientele, this is what they're going to be ordering, this is the activity that they are going to do on their vacation. And I started to really understand what the user wanted. So coming from this hospitality architectural firm, gradually took me into real estate when I had the opportunity to work with my mother and Bill Bullock, who is the CEO of Golden Gate Sotheby's. He founded it many years ago, before it was Decker Bullock Sotheby's, and then became Golden Gate Sotheby's when him and Michael Dreyfus combined. So, and that took some time, because I started and I was about 25 years old, and I would say,
what was the opportunity?
The opportunity was great. Yeah, the opportunity
what was the opportunity?
Well, it's funny. I think people would think that the opportunity was really easy for me because I had my mother and I had Bill Bullock. But I would say that if you know them individually, you had to work hard to prove that you were worthy to be in the room with the clients. And Bill was running the company, and he didn't have the time to coach me, really. And my mother, by nature, she's not a coach. So it was a bit like sink or swim. And so through that, I had to understand my identity through my career and figure out my own voice. That wasn't her voice. That wasn't Bill's voice. And over the years, as I started to gain confidence and think about the things that were meaningful to me in the business, I created my own voice, and it was really beneficial to the team, where they realized we need her. We need someone that makes our team multi-generational. We need someone that understands our clientele and understands our brand, understands the Sotheby brand, and has a level of sophistication where this makes our team into a mega team, and we can cover all different sides of what our clients want.
So right out of the gate, did you went in as an agent with your mom, or were you a marketing assistant, listing coordinator?
Yeah. So for the first year, I was more marketing, on the marketing side, until I got my real estate license. Yeah. But before, and I mean, even going back, as I mentioned, when I was in college, I would come back and I would work in the summertime, and I would assist her. And so it's like I've been in it for a very long time.
In college, in the first couple of jobs out of school, was that always on the West Coast, Bay Area, or did you ever venture east of the Mississippi?
I would have loved to. I think I'm a California girl at heart. No, most of them were on the West Coast. Yeah. Yeah. Before the architectural firm, I was working as an assistant for a woman who was designing high-end spas. So again, in the hospitality industry.
So you started out I mean, obviously you were coming from this hospitality industry, this architecture firm, learning more about what customers want, what people want in a property, obviously high-end luxury stuff. And so was your mother already working in like high-end luxury real estate at that time? Or, I mean, tell us about the makeup of the Marin County whole market there.
And where is Marin County for our listeners that don't know? Like, we know San Francisco, but like, where is Marin County?
It's north of the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. So as soon as
lots of beautiful natural landscape there, protected land, and then some gorgeous neighborhoods, right?
Yes. So, in terms of luxury, I would say that, I think I always had a really discerning taste. My mom was managing the Neiman Marcus travel department. So she was already working with a pretty luxurious brand before she got into Sotheby's. And before Decker Bullock became Decker Bullock Sotheby's and then Golden Gate Sotheby's, it was the premier luxury brokerage in Marin County. And so as I mentioned, just always had a discerning eye, just in taste. And I knew that if I wanted to get into the business, I wanted to serve the luxury market. And what's interesting is I think agents get nervous about entering the luxury market because they're scared of the clients that they're going to deal with. But I would tell you that some of my favorite and easiest transactions have been the ones that have been north of 15 million, because the sellers have the money to not spend time to waste, and they get the job done, and they don't have the time to go back and forth. They just want to move on to the next transaction. So I really love working in the luxury side of the business. I love those clients. I love meeting them and learning from them. And I seem to find myself being very natural at it. I've never been afraid of it. And I think that's just because I view people as equal. And I don't think just because they come from this different background that I can't be in the same room as them. I feel that I have so much to learn, and I'm like a sponge, and I want to absorb everything that I can, and also show that, they are normal as well.
So for our DC listeners, can you give us a ballpark on what luxury price point is in San Francisco Bay Area? And then what is your team's average or your average price point?
Sure. I would say that, which is kind of funny to think, but luxury in Marin County is, anything north of like 2.5 and up. And then I would say that, and then really where I specialize in Marin, it's 3.5 and up. That's the average price home. And
so, go ahead.
Yeah. And then our average sales are around 5 million, most of the homes we sell.
So you're definitely dealing in the higher end of the market there. That's your
Yes, we do fewer sales and higher price points.
But what I wanted to say, like you were mentioning about dealing with higher net worth individuals and customers, I mean, but that is truly like for all realtors, what unites us as salespeople is you're still dealing with people.
For sure.
And you're dealing with what they need, if they have specific desires, what they want to get done, how they want to get it done. So the price point, well, there are more complexities with some of these higher end properties. I was looking at an Instagram of yours today, and these places have gorgeous views. They've got all kinds of different high end products within the property. So it's more complex than, say, the average like downtown condo that Brent and I might list, here in DC. But the service, the things that you have to do for that client is similar. You still have to be there and listen and pay attention. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that some buyers or sellers think of us or think of luxury agents as you're too high end to sell my home. But we use the same method to any person that comes in our direction. And I think that's really a benefit. We just happen to live in a really luxurious county. So, you know, and we specialize in that market. So it just, you know, it works out to be that way.
So if someone had like a $500,000 studio downtown San Francisco, would you refer that out to someone, or would you take on the listing?
I would, depending on where it is in San Francisco, I would probably refer that out. I normally just focus on northern San Francisco. I just don't know really much about those properties. Yeah.
Those properties being like studios?
I just don't know.
My closet's this big.
They just wouldn't be in an area that I would know much about.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't be able to really help them. But I would take something like that in Marin County.
For sure. But the Bay Area market is obviously geographically it's a pretty big landscape, you know, when you come from like the above Golden Gate Bridge to all the way down to San Jose. I mean, there's a lot of ground covered by a lot of different agents and different companies. So it's much bigger, I think, geographically than DC by a long shot. Although when you think about DC also, though, the DC market, the greater metro market, we could extend all the way out to like Dulles Airport. I mean, we wouldn't be taking listings out there. Maybe it's something if it's super high luxury, but it's like the traveling, right? And it's the same thing in California. It's just too much.
Yeah. We mostly specialize in northern San Francisco, Marin County, and then the wine country.
Nice.
Recently, have you guys seen this is kind of jumping through some of the questions, but and we can cut this question out if need be, but everything that's going on with like inner city USA, have you guys seen a movement from like downtown San Francisco? They don't want to be downtown San Francisco, so they're going to northern San Francisco, Maroon County, because of, again, inner city USA.
Definitely. I mean, especially during COVID, we've seen a lot of that. I think the nice thing about Marin County and some of the East Bay and the South Bay, and why you see people moving too, is it's much easier to send your children to school. So we get an influx of buyers, especially in the spring season, when the families find out if their children get accepted into the private schools or not. And if they don't, they move to Marin because we have top rated public schools. So a lot of people move out of the city at a certain point, especially when it's time to raise families.
That's not dissimilar to DC at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
schools are the driving factor.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So do you still work with your mom? Tell us about the makeup of your team.
Sure. So it is Bill Bullock, as I mentioned, who's the CEO of Golden Gate Sotheby's, and Magdalena Sarkissian, my mother. And the three of us all sell. And then we have our transaction coordinator. Bill handles most of the complicated contracts and the escrows and the seller's disclosures. And my mother and I handle more of the operations side of the team. So we're the road runners. We're the ones that are in contact with the sellers or the buyers at all times and managing that whole process. I also do contract writing as well. However, since I'm on the road a lot, I will sometimes call Bill and he will write something because he's at his desk more than we are. And that's the makeup of our team. We are just in constant communication. I think, the way that our team operates is that each one of us operates independently, and we're not hovering over each other and wondering what the other person is doing. Once one person is given a task, we know that the job is going to be completed, and we're always in communication of what's happening next. So we've thought about expanding our team. And I think that's been a huge thing as we go to the conferences and you meet other agents. But I think what we've realized is that we are not, to actually expand a team, you need to almost have an agent that is ready to just coach the other agents pretty much full time. And none of us have that time or I think the patience to do that. So
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think we romanticize that, more agents on your team means more deals, but we're pretty fine with the way that we operate. We've tried it and it's not easy.
I'll just add really quickly, my team's similar. I work with one of the owners of our company. I've worked with him for over 20 years, and we just have a small team. Obviously, with Jonathan's name, we could certainly attract other talent and get people to come work under us. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, obviously, that's we know that's more work for us.
Yeah,
that we have a comfort level. You know what I mean, with where we are and the amount of work that we do. And that doesn't mean we're not super competitive, because we are. We're out there, competing for the listings that we're competing for every day. But I don't know. But Brent has a different team model.
We have a different team model. So there's 7 agents underneath Rob and I. Rob and I are the co-founders of the Rob and Brent Group. And you can take this journey any way you want to in real estate, but I actually enjoy, managing some of the team part of the business. I actually enjoy training the other agents and walking them through, getting them up to speed. I think every agent on our team, except for 2, has come from the ground up from a different industry. And you're spot on. I mean, managing team is time consuming. That's a hat. Training other agents is another hat. That's time consuming. And then you're still dealing with your buyers and sellers, and then your family, personal life. I mean, it's juggling a lot of balls up there in the air.
Brent gets up at 3 a.m, just FYI. So
wow, you have to enjoy it. And if you know that that's not a strong suit, mentoring is not a strong suit for you, then you have to also understand that. And I think for me, because I was already I was around the industry for a lot longer than I was an agent, it was a natural progression for me. We get a lot of young agents approaching us and wanting to be on our team because they want to have that mentorship. But it's very hard, I think, at our level to take on an agent that just got their license. They need to be in the industry for a few years before we can work with them.
So you guys have a small, nimble team, and you're all top of the game. Are you guys meeting weekly, monthly, or meeting at all?
Yes, we meet weekly. And I mean, like I said, we're in communication all the time. So we're constantly communicating, and also, and having your mother on the team, it's just by nature, you're just having conversations, whether it's family and life, and then you weave back into business. So we meet weekly in the office, and that seems to really keep us on track.
Are you an office person? I mean, what's your day scheduled like? Do you get up, like, work out, then go to the office every day? Are you in the car person? Tell me.
Yeah. I think for me, working out is a non-negotiable. So I work out every morning, except for this, because you made me wake up.
Yeah, we made you get on the podcast. Sorry. Yeah.
But I do, it centers me massively. I need that before I can start my day. And then my days are different every single day. It really depends. I like going into the office a few times a week, but I'm not in there every single day. Sometimes I just like working on my dining room kitchen table and having all my papers spread out and having that natural light and working in privacy.
Go ahead. Oh, I'll go. All right. I'm going to switch to, so a lot of the agents that listen to us we just get to like the nuts and bolts of what we do every day. Social media obviously is something huge that if you're not using social media, like, who are you? Like, what kind of realtor doesn't use tons of social media nowadays? But one thing our producer noticed is that your personal social media is not like a public business type of social media. What's the reasoning for that? Like, how do you separate that?
We have our team page, which is Global Estates. It's global_estates. And I like that to be a landing page for all of our listings and our sales and our videos and what we're doing with Wildcare. And that, because that is shared, I like to keep that separate. And I also feel that in today's age, for me personally, what I've seen is a lot of agents selling themselves so much where they have no privacy over their personal life. And I like to have my personal life private. To me, that is a very sacred thing that I enjoy, that if I'm ready to share that with a client, I'm feeling that it's a choice, not because it's expected of me to be accessible all the time. And I don't want people to know everything about what I do. And so I like the separation of a work social media and a personal social media, just because it gives me some privacy, which I think in real estate, you're always selling yourself. And I need to have somewhat of a separation. Yeah.
I like that. I think I'm at the point where I go back and forth, like saying we have our team Instagram and all the social media and put everything you need to out there. I sometimes feel like I need to do the same thing in my personal, like, balance a little bit of showing property and a little bit of personal life, but it's so exhausting. I'm like, I'll do it for a little bit and then I'll shut it down for like 2 months. And I'm
for
like,
sure. It is exhausting.
Yeah.
I do post stories on my social media because a lot of my people in my community, they recognize the work that I do, and I revert back. I tag back to our public page, but I do find it really exhausting, and I don't think people realize how much stress that actually puts on the agent. That not only are you expected to sell and know the market, but you're also expected to be accessible, and that can really bring down anyone, no matter who it is. And you never know where someone is at what stage in their life. And I think,
right,
it's good not to just follow every trend because you're seeing every agent now getting in front of their camera and speaking, on their Instagram lives. And if that's what you love doing, then that's amazing. And if you're great at it, awesome, and more power to you. But I realize it's just not me, and that's just not authentic. And I'd rather come off a different way with my clients.
Well, I don't know. I feel like you'd be really good at that, actually. If you're not doing it, because I'm not on your. I haven't looked at your business social media enough to know if you're not doing that or not. But I do a lot of this stuff, and I don't know. I feel very natural doing it, and I feel like I've gotten better at it because I did it more.
Yeah.
But there are definitely people out there doing these things because it's on trend, and they're doing all kinds of other little video tricks, and you can see it's forced, and it's not appealing, right?
Yeah. You've got the look and the voice for it. I could see you being really good at this.
Thank you, man.
It's a muscle you have to flex, and I don't think everyone feels comfortable speaking in front of the camera. And if you do some coaching and you get over that hurdle, that's great. But I think for me, I'm more of I really love sending like yearly reports that are really in depth to my clients that I work on every year, and providing more data and beautiful photos.
One more thing, and then we can switch topics, but same with what you just mentioned, like stay in your lane. Like if you're not comfortable switching the camera around on yourself, stay in your lane. Like if you don't want to coach, if you don't want to mentor, manage, whatnot, like stay in your lane, what you're good at, and you'll be great at it. And on the social media, sometimes I get irritated because it can be very misleading when I'll go to the gym, joking relationship with some of my buddies there, and they're like, oh, look at so-and-so. He sold so many houses this quarter, this month, this year, whatever. Yeah. And I quickly pull up HomeSnap, is what we use here in DC. And I'm like, look, I've sold 117 and he sold 22 in the last 2 years. So it's like, you can do what you want on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, but it's not always the truth.
Very true.
It's so true.
I wanted to, this wasn't on our sheet, but I wanted to go back to the panel we were on. We were talking about ChatGPT and how realtors are using that in business right now. And you were saying that you were using it for a lot of your communication, like when you were getting ready to send an email or on a certain topic, you were using ChatGPT to kind of like help edit it, and structure it. And I was doing a lot of that too. I've been doing it a little less lately, but I'm still using it. And I know how this is, like, the whole world of AI and ChatGPT is evolving very quickly. There are things that, like, it was really buzzy popular all of a sudden, and then it's sort of like tapered off a little bit. Are you still using it every day, or how are you using it now?
Yeah, I am still using it every day. I love it because I feel like someone's proofreading my emails. And I also love it because I feel that I have a virtual assistant that I can bounce ideas off. And I think that, so if I'm going to send an email that probably needs to tell, if I need to tell, for example, if I need to tell a seller that they need to have a price reduction, your tone and the message and the delivery is so important. And I would say that I like to speak from the heart, but sometimes that needs to be done in a succinct manner. And so I'll write everything out. I mean, everything that I'm writing is generated by me, but then I'll throw it into chat and I'll say, how would you say this in a collaborative way or in a nice way? And I'll get different ideas and I'll pick and choose. And that's been really helpful. I think it's cut my workload in half when I'm sitting at my computer and I'm just, spending an hour working on an email. And I can't imagine my work now without it. And not only am I using it for emailing, but I'm also using it for marketing. If I need some kind of tagline or property descriptions. Oh my God, property descriptions. How long did those used to take you before until ChatGPT?
Well, the other thing about the property descriptions with ChatGPT is that it's using very real estate-y terms that are helpful for SEO, and it's getting smarter at that all the time. So sometimes when it generates something, I'm like, it's not necessarily in my voice or whatever, but I know that it's doing the right thing, and I can edit that and tweak it and build a very strong set of remarks that's going to be on Zillow or Redfin or wherever it's feeding to. And that's the objective, right?
For sure.
And the consumer doesn't care about Max's voice, right? It's like what presents the property better, whether it's your voice, my voice, or anybody's voice. It's like,
does it have the information?
Does it have the information? But back to your question about, or I guess your statement about drafting the email. Have you ever tried, you said it could take you an hour to draft an email and then you throw it into ChatGPT. Have you flipped it where you throw it into ChatGPT, use that as your foundation, and then go back and like tweak whatever it spits back out at you?
Like just a simple question to ChatGPT for the prompt.
Sometimes I would say that has not been successful because it just misses out on some of the different details that you want to convey. So no, but even, I'll use it when I'm trying to understand, sometimes I'm reading another agent's addendum and they write it in a way that was not very clear to me. I will copy and paste it and I'll say, how would you, what does this mean to you? And tell me in different ways so that I can understand it better. So, it's been really nice. I mean, it would be interesting to have a world without it now because I rely on it so much. And that's a bit scary to me, knowing that you can rely on technology so much for your business and who knows what can happen. But I
think it's where we are. I think it's just where we are right now. And I think that if you're not using these tools, and you don't need to use every single possible tool out there. There's always trying to sell us something new, but that one is to me, it's like a given, right? That you want to get that extra time saving aspect of the text stuff, at least.
And a free assistant. I mean, there was times that I used to call our assistant and I'm on the road and I would tell her, can you please start writing an email that I need to write to our client? And now I don't have to go through that step. And the hour that I'm waiting for that email gets shortened down to like 10 minutes.
Yeah. We wanted to give some time. You're involved in the community and you're a board member at WildCare Bay Area. Tell us about this organization and how you're involved with that and what it means to you.
Sure. So WildCare is a rehab and hospital for injured animals in the Bay Area. And then they also do a lot of policy work where they try to change different things to help the animals, so that, like rodenticides is a big one. And also, especially for homeowners too, when they try to eradicate rats, what do? So they help educate the community. They have a whole educational program for kids, and they have camps where they bring them on wildlife tours, and they teach them how to coexist with our friendly neighbors. So they take in roughly over 4,000 injured animals a year. The animals that don't get released back into the wild stay at the center, and they become ambassadors, and they're used for educational programs. And the ones that do get released back into the wild, and it's really a beautiful sight to see an animal get healed and then get released. So I've always been in love with nature and animals. And I think a lot of us always think of, how can I help animals that are in Africa, like the elephants and the rhinos? And while those are very important, and I love those organizations as well, to me, this is more local, and they're the animals that we see. They're the raccoons, they're the deer, the coyotes, the birds, the owls. And so it's a great organization. I love the board members. I love everyone that works there. They have, I was actually introduced to WildCare when I was in middle school. They came to my school. They brought all the ambassador animals. It was an activity that they had. And it was the first time that as a child you could walk and be so close to an owl and look at them and understand that these animals are in our backyard and we need to take care of them. And so, yeah, it's been a really beautiful journey. I think every time I go to a board meeting, it feels as though I went to church. You just get this weight lifted that you're doing something for the greater good. We actually have our WildCare Gala this coming up Saturday that I'm very excited about. And we are raising about $20 million for our new facilities that we're trying to create more of a hub and an educational program and a hospital for these animals. So we're really excited about that.
That's awesome.
I love it because also it's so intertwined with like the true treasure that is the part of the world that you live in
yes.
too.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, it's all part of that. There's no question about it.
And it also intertwines with what I do with my career, finding homes and also taking care of the homes for the animals that are near us.
Love it.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Yeah.
Why don't we pivot back to something else? We'll piece that together correctly. And then let's go back to what do you want to do?
I just wanted to kind of go back to client management, like CRM.
Yeah.
How are you staying on top of your clients? Are you doing any client appreciation parties? I know that's big coming up here in the fall.
Yeah. It's so interesting to go to the Sotheby's networking events. You get to learn so much from so many different agents. This year, we're going to do our first client appreciation event for the holidays, and we're going to see how that works out.
Can you share any details, like roughly the date is between Thanksgiving?
Brent loves this stuff.
I love this.
Yeah. We were a Christmas holiday. Normally, we send out Christmas gifts every single year to our clients, and I think this year we realized how important it is to get in front of them and to see them. People just want connection. And then in the early part of this year, we decided that every single month we want to go out to dinner with one client each month and see, and just see them. Honestly, it's not to get more business. It's mostly to tell them how much we appreciated our time together. It's also people that we love working with that are so smart and intelligent and fun and a nice way to just connect with them. But I would, the whole CRM thing, I think for me, we're using Close. It's a bit of a Ferrari for me for what we need. And we mostly work inside of our Google spreadsheets, and that seems to work the best.
So it's a bit of a Ferrari. So that means that it goes a little too fast and the transmission falls apart. I don't.
All I heard was she's into cars.
It's just a bit. It's a bit too many bells and whistles, and it's confusing. And I just like working in the Google spreadsheet. It's easier for me. I need something very simple.
Yeah, we have so many guests here who would just keep it so simple. They're either using like sheets or even just like an Excel spreadsheet. I'm amazed at
we
managing
use
major
Google
contacts.
Sheets and it works.
Yeah. I use Google Sheets and Apple Notes, but I mean, everyone on here has always said the same thing. The best CRM is the one that you're going to use.
For sure.
Some of those you got to keep going back, top producer, follow up, whatever. You actually have to stop the car, put it in, set up the call action, and then move forward. And some people just forget that step, which is the most important step. In
all the categories, it limits you on how you can actually think about this client. So yeah.
I think we can finish up with like a general market question for you. Obviously we can look up all this kind of data and everything on our own, but I want to get your take on your area market. What's the current trend? Do you think interest rates have affected the market that you work in? I'm guessing not. Tell us a little about your market predictions and thoughts right now.
Yeah, I think interest rates definitely has impacted the market, even though I deal with more cash buyers, but it has made it uneasy for people to leave their properties that they own already. So, when I hear, for real estate agents, I find that people look at us and they think we have a crystal ball and we know what's going to happen, but we really don't. And some of our best clients are in the finance industry, and they tell us we don't know when the interest rates are going to come down. And again, like I see a lot of real estate agents on their social media telling buyers to buy now and that they can refinance later, but no one knows when they can refinance later. And I think what it really comes down to is where that buyer is in their timeline. Are they ready to buy a house? Are they expecting some inheritance eventually? Are they expecting a pay raise? Are they planning to have a child? And I think all of these different factors decide whether or not it's a right time to buy the property. And you keep telling yourself year after year, oh, I should have bought that property when it was this year or the year before. And in the Bay Area, the home prices have continued to stay strong. And with 2021 and 22, it was so crazy for us. The prices have really, they skyrocketed. And I think what's hard now is that we're seeing a lot of those properties come back on the market, and those sellers are now trying to sell those assets, and they want more than what they paid for.
Of course.
Yeah. And now it puts us in a really hard position. So
why are they selling though? Did they buy it to flip, or they just buy a remorse?
Both. I think also what happened here too is whatever, I think both. I think they decided that they didn't have enough money to then flip, or they decided that, whatever financing structure they were in now does not work for them because they own several different properties and now they're in a pickle. Yep. So, I think it's interesting how many of those properties now I see coming back on the market, the ones that were purchased in 2021 and 2022. So yeah, I think for the market in the Bay Area, it's if the home is priced well, if it's in a great location, if it's packaged well for the market, we're still seeing a 30% price over asking. But if it's challenging and the property, is not going to appeal to the wider market. We are seeing a reduction in price, and especially in the higher end, we're seeing that more so. We're seeing homes on the market for a lot longer than they were before, and than the last 2 years. So I'm still very confident in our market. I know, especially San Francisco has not had the best reputation in the news, and where I live, I never see any of that. And it's funny, it's not that big of a city, but you could be so separated from the downtown area. But I have a client actually coming from New York who is looking for a $15 million property, and he wants San Francisco because he believes it's going to come back. And when you've been a city where you've had such a big trajectory going up, and everyone's been looking at you for the tech and the finance and, and just the science, everything that's coming out of the Bay Area has been so rich, also comes with a big fall. And everyone then looks at you again and then has something to say. So
yeah,
historically, San Francisco has been up and down. Marin County is its own little jewel box, and it's you live here because of the lifestyle.
Yeah,
politics aside,
selling the lifestyle.
Yeah, you live here because the
True.
weather, the lifestyle. You have 1 hour from Napa. You are 3 hours from Lake Tahoe, 2 hours from Big Sur, Carmel, Pebble Beach area. It's a really ideal place to live.
It's a California world. We don't, like, we're just over here on the East Coast just battling traffic and extreme weather
over here.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have to come visit. I'd love to take you guys out.
No, I would love to see that part of California. My sister's actually, she lives in Southern California, so I've done a lot of Southern California stuff, but I've never done like outside of the San Francisco area, Northern California. I know it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very special. It's really special.
We did the drive. It was probably like 10 years ago, but we went to San Francisco. We got a Mini Cooper, got my head scorched. It was a Mini Cooper convertible. So we did that drive down. I think it's Route 1. It was like right along the ocean. Stopped at Pebble Beach, stopped at Carmel, went all the way down to Los Angeles.
Oh,
went through Big Sur.
Did you love Big Sur?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's really special.
Yeah, we stayed at a place in Carmel. I think it was like Tickle Pink or Pink Tickle. It was weird, but there's no air conditioning. But you didn't need it because it was like 65 degrees.
Yeah.
Wait, Lauren just popped in. Lauren, do you need something? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, we'll wrap. We got you.
Nice to see you, Lauren. Nice to see you.
Okay. Yep.
We have a sheet.
Oh, okay, good. Got you. Okay. Well, Magda Sarkissian, thank you so much for coming on the show today and getting up bright and early and meeting with us. And also, you mentioned earlier you're planning your wedding, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Is it your wedding?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations.
Can't believe I'm leaving in 10 days.
Wow.
Where are you going?
Sicily.
Whoa.
Wow.
I know.
The honeymoon's there or the wedding's there?
The wedding's there. Our honeymoon's in South Africa in December.
Are you going to see, obviously you're going to the parks and doing the wildlife thing?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
We are doing a safari tour. We're so excited.
That's awesome.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Well, we always do our rapid fire questions. So Brent's going to hit you with some rapid fire questions to wrap up.
Okay.
First question is not part of the rapid fire, but do you believe in Netflix?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So what are you binge watching now? Sometimes I ask the question, they're like, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched it in years. So I'm like, all right, scratch that one. So what are you binge watching now?
I'm binge watching The Blue Zones on Netflix.
Blue Zones?
Yeah, have you heard? It's where they have the largest community of centenarians.
Okay.
People that live over 100 years old.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Did you watch suits? Seems like every time I go somewhere, somebody's asking me about suits, or at a dinner and a couple next to us is talking about suits.
I've been intrigued. My husband's an investment banker, so when he comes home, he wants nothing to see men in suits. So that doesn't work out.
Right. That show is from like 15 years ago. I was watching it when it first came on the air, and now everyone's obsessed with it again. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's so funny.
So next question. You're driving down the road. This song pops on. You crank it up and sing it loud. What is it?
Probably The Cure, Love Song.
Nice. That's my generation right there.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Justin Bieber and Michael Jackson there.
You're Justin Bieber. That's because you're kids, probably.
Yeah. What useless talent do you have?
Oh, that's a good question. What useless talent?
Useless.
Oh my gosh. Man.
She's too efficient. Everything is.
I don't know.
We'll scrap that one.
Yeah. Yes. Next.
So, are you an early bird or a night owl?
I think I'm a night owl, but I do enjoy the mornings.
What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Most adventurous thing I ever done. Oh, I think I would say when I moved to Spain for several months on my own. Yeah.
Was that for school, or you just decided to move?
Yeah, I went abroad.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone.
Spain. So do you speak, was it
Spanish?
Más o menos. I'm not Spanish, but being in California.
Would you speak it fluently?
I lost a lot of it, to be honest, but I understand. I can have a conversation.
Right on.
Last question. Someone's coming to visit you in the Bay Area. What's the go-to restaurant?
In the Bay Area? What's
your spot?
What's your spot?
Yeah.
Your go-to?
I love the Progress in San Francisco, or Nopa.
Heard of Nopa.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Brent will be flying out soon to go to either one.
To Nopa.
Yeah. Foodie Brent.
Well, please come and visit me, you guys. I'd love to take you out.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Magda.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate this.
All right. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.